It is so warm. So warm. Oh boy. I want to have the window open so it can cool down, but if I open the window, the traffic, but if I keep the window closed, oh boy. Before we start the video proper, dress shot, because it's so cute today.
So for love, no one to hear my cries and sympathize. Nobody knows but my pillow and me.
Hello beauties and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a very simple straight to camera talking video, and it's going to be answering questions that I commonly get from people that I know or people that see me that like my outfits and are sweet enough to compliment me. These are generally, I find, the most common questions that people tend to have about kind of vintage or vintage inspired style. So I thought it would be a good video to do a topic on, so I can condense all of these things into one place. So I really hope that this will be somewhat interesting or helpful at all. Please do let me know if you liked it, and if you have any other questions, feel free to drop me a comment and I will answer you, because I don't get many comments so it doesn't take long. So yeah, I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and let's get started with the first question I tend to get asked, which is, so generally my outfits are inspired by the 1940s or the 1950s, or a kind of mixture of both. The fashion from both of those decades is very similar, I find, so I generally tend to say 1950s, but a lot of my clothing is kind of 1940s inspired as well. But generally those are the eras that I take inspiration from. I just really love the silhouette, I love the kind of romance of the clothes, I love the way that they fit. I think they flatter my body very well, and I think they fit my personality. So yeah, that answers that question. And the answer is yes, I do. I dress in this style every single day of my life, and I hopefully will be continuing to dress like this every day of my life until my style changes, if that ever happens, but I don't see it happening. I love dressing like this, and it's so much fun to get dressed in the morning. That's why I like this style, is because I'm excited to get dressed every single day to put together my little outfit. Because I know that sometimes it can be difficult to find clothing like this. I'm very lucky, I live on the outskirts of London, so there are so many places in London that sell these kinds of clothes. So if you want to go online, which I think is a really good starting place, I buy most of my clothes online from brands that I know. So my favourite clothing brands online are Collective, Tiger Millie, Lindy Bop, and Retro, and Top Vintage. There you go, Top Vintage. So Top Vintage and Tiger Millie are vintage websites that sell a lot of different vintage reproduction brands, like under one roof, if you like. So for example, Tiger Millie, they sell Band, they sell Collective, they sell Dancing Days, they sell Dolly and Dottie, they sell so many different brands, but it's all into one space. So that's really good if you are perhaps starting out and you want a lot of options for different styles all under one place. And then Collective is definitely one of my top vintage brands. I buy so many of my clothes from there. If you follow me on Instagram, I wear their clothes a lot. And Collective has, I think, 5 shops across the UK, and also there is, even locally to where I live when I'm at home, there is a shop in Norwich called Lady B Loves that sells really lovely vintage reproduction things. There is there is a shop in Ipswich and St Edmunds called Pocketwatches Petticoats, which is an amazing shop that sells 5 different vintage brands. That's where I got this dress, which is really, really lovely. But yeah, just do some research, and then you can also, of course, go true vintage shopping. I do not actually own any true vintage pieces. All of my things are what is called vintage reproduction, which is clothes made in the modern day that look like clothes made from eras past. I just find this to be a lot cheaper. I find it's easy because I know that these clothes will fit me, and the level of care is a lot lower because obviously if it's a true dress from the 1950s, it's going to be a lot more delicate, require a lot more delicate care than this dress, which I can just put in the washing machine at 30 degrees and then hang dry, and I don't have to hand wash it or anything. I can't hand wash, so I find that to be the easiest route, but you might like to go true vintage. So yeah, that was a really long answer to a very simple question, but I wanted to cover all the bases. Now, anyone who follows me on Instagram or Snapchat will know that I set my hair in sponge rollers, which are these little things. I have to give them a wash because they're a bit smushed. These are rollers that you wrap the hair section around, roll up, clip tight, and then wear with a hairnet or a scarf over. Overnight I do a wet set, so I use a mixture of a water and a setting lotion to dampen a piece of hair, roll it up into this, clip it in, and then I sleep in it overnight and then brush out in the morning. I also, the last time I went and got my hair cut, finally committed and I got a vintage midi cut. What that means is that my hair is, you can kind of see it in the way that the curls are formed on my head. My hair is cut into a horseshoe, so the layers of my hair start around here and then it goes down into the longest point, which is at the nape of the neck. So if I do a little swirly round, oh god. You may be able to tell that my hair is shortest at the front and longest at the back. I think next time I get it cut, I'm definitely going to get it cut into a horseshoe that brings up a lot shorter at the back because it's so hot and I can't deal with hair on my neck, basically. But yes, that is also, well, the kind of haircut you have will influence how roller sets or pin curl sets come out on you. But you can, it is worth noting that you can also create fairly vintage, authentic looking sets with a modern heated curling iron. So, but I do my hair with sponge rollers. So I find inspiration from everywhere I can. I like looking at vintage adverts. Adverts are one of my favourite things. The old, you know the ones I'm talking about, the old hand-drawn ones where the women kind of look like cartoons. I love them so much. I like looking at photos of women from the eras that I'm inspired by, so from the 40s and 50s. I like looking at films. I like looking at behind the scenes of films, seeing Hollywood actresses and what they would wear. So just research a lot for me. I like looking at pictures, I like looking at adverts and films. I'd say that's where I get most of my inspiration. And really I'd say that it's kind of 2 steps. The first step is research. So vintage can mean anything from the past. You could dress from the 90s and that is technically dressing vintage because that was 20 years ago, which is crazy. But vintage can mean anything from the past. So first you have to narrow down the era that you want. So whether you want to dress like you're from the 1920s, whether you want to dress from the 1930s, 1940s, 1950s, 1960s, 1970s, 1980s, anything. So do some research, find the styles that you were inspired by. You can even mix eras if you wanted to. Just find the styles that you like and that you feel the most comfortable and confident in. And then I'd say find a shop, a physical shop that has items in the style that you like go, monopolise the changing room and just try on everything. Try on everything that you can. Find styles and fits and cuts that flatter you and that make you feel confident and that make you feel good. And then you can go online and you can find more things in that style and just slowly start to build it up. It's definitely a process to build up your vintage wardrobe. So it's not going to happen overnight. It didn't happen overnight for me. So just slowly start to mix in pieces in the style that you like, and then if you really enjoy dressing that way, you can build up more and more until your wardrobe is completely that. So yeah. A lot of people seem to think that, how do I put this? I understand that walking down the street in a big swing dress and a petticoat and my hair in a set is quite noticeable. Like, it doesn't blend in. It is quite a distinctive style. I have actually had people at university come up to me and say that they've seen me around and that they really like the way I dress. So I'm obviously quite recognisable. I look for the girl in the 50s dress. But I think for me, I am quite confident in the way that I dress because I know that I love it. And that's the first step, is that you have to love it and you have to feel good in the clothes, because if you're insecure, it is going to show. But also because, how do I describe this? This style of dress doesn't feel like a costume to me. It just feels like the way that I love to dress. It doesn't feel like I'm creating a character. It doesn't feel like I'm putting on a facade. It feels like authentic to me and to my personality and to what I love. So when I look at it that way, then it's the same to me to wake up, brush out a set and put on a dress as it would be for any other person to get up, put their hair in a bun and put on a pair of jeans and a nice shirt. So it's just the way that my brain is programmed to, like, some people would think that this would be so much effort and so much high maintenance and everything, and for some people it might be, but it's just the way that my brain is programmed. It just comes naturally, kind of, to me. It's the way that I feel most confident, it's the way that I feel most comfortable, so that answers that. It's self-confidence, it's accepting that this is who I am, and then the confidence kind of comes from there. I do have a full video on this that I filmed around this time last year, actually, when I still had super short black Gatsby hair. And bear in mind, I have only been dressing this way for about a year. I started dressing properly vintage, like, regularly after I chopped all my hair off. So it's been, I did that in July of last year, so it's been about just over a year that I've been dressing like vintage every day. But some vintage starter kit that I would recommend is, it does depend on the era, but for a kind of 40s, 50s look, I would recommend getting a swing skirt, a blouse, a kind of casual t-shirt style top, a pair of trousers. Those can be cropped trousers, they can be swing trousers, they can be jeans, anything like that. A pair of flats, or I think they're called Oxford, kind of brogue type shoes. I feel like shoes you can get away with just normal flats, especially if you're kind of only dipping your toes in and you want more of a low-key look. But if you want more of a true vintage look, then things like Oxfords or little T-bar Mary Janes, like my favourite Dykeman ones, are also a really good pick. And then for your hair, you could just put it up in a ponytail, try a little barrel roll at the front, and then slowly progress to like pen curls and things. When I see people And I know, and they are really sweet. I know this question is really, really sweet, and I don't want this video to come across like I'm really arrogant about the way that I look, because I'm not. But it is a question that I get, and I thought I would include it. And it is, people say, oh, how do you look so put together all the time? How are you so dressed up all the time? And the answer to that is that, to me, this isn't dressed up. I've always been a person that overdresses for life. Even when I didn't dress vintage, I was always in dresses and skirts because that's how I felt most comfortable. I was always in high heels because that's what I like to wear. But vintage style does definitely look more put together and more dressed up anyway. But the answer is that, to me, waking up, putting on a 50s dress, putting on my pearls, I got these from Amazon recently and I love them, and red lipstick, is just, it's my jeans and a t-shirt. Putting on vintage clothes is my normal. So it doesn't feel like I'm putting in an extra effort. It doesn't feel like I'm really super dressed up. Obviously some days I do go like extra dressed up. I wear a petticoat or I wear one of my really, really, really nice vintage dresses. But my normal is a dress. My normal is a little pair of heels and some pearls and some red lipstick. So it's not that I look to be more overdressed than everyone else. It's just that this is who I am, this is my life, this is my normal. So yeah, I really hope that you all enjoyed this video. I hope that it answered some questions, if you had any, about my personal reasons for wearing vintage style and my tips and things like that. Do remember that you can follow me to see more of my outfits on Instagram at AveryVintageDarling and on Twitter at BeVintageDarling. You can also read my blog, which is veryvintagedarling.wordpress.com. All of them will be left in the description. I will also leave all of the websites that I talked about and some good books that I think you will enjoy, and the information on where my outfit is from as well. So again, I really hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you're enjoying this heat wave. Please stay hydrated and be sensible and wear sunscreen, all that jazz. And I love you all, and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye!